I've been in your waters. I'm looking for sure. I've never been so close before. It's one way or the other.
What's up guys, Matt Laidlaw here, coming to you from Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. So I'm finally getting around to making a video that I've been promising you guys for a while now, and it is a review and a slight tutorial on the new Boom Audio 20S Evo Bluetooth helmet headset. So this is something that Harley riders have been begging Harley for a while now. You finally get to cut the cord that runs from your helmet headset down to your bike that enables you to make phone calls and communicate with other riders and do voice commands on your bike. And that system was made available in the 2014 model year with the Project Rushmore launch. And ever since that Project Rushmore launch with the new Boom Audio 6.5 GT infotainment systems, people have been struggling and complaining about the fact that you have to have a cord running from your headset, your helmet, down to the center console or wherever on your bike. I personally didn't mind the cord that much. It was a very reliable system, worked really well. But yes, you did have a cord there that you had to unplug when you got off the bike. And you had the unsightliness of the cord. So let me kind of jump into what you need to make this thing work on your bike here. Okay, so first off, let's start off with what you need to make this new 20S headset work. You got to have the wireless headset interface module. And so this is compatible with 14 and later touring bikes that have the Boom Audio 6.5 GT radio. So basically any touring bike with a fairing that has the bigger radio in it, and the bigger radio also has the navigation on it. So if your bike has navigation on it, it's going to have compatibility with this WIM, the wireless headset interface module. They abbreviate it and just call it WIM is the acronym. So first off, I'll point out here, it says superior audio quality. Basically, to get stereo sound into this headset, you got to have the Harley-Davidson branded headset. You can't just use any old Senna and get stereo output, and they say proprietary software there. So it's basically, in my opinion, guys, in my advice, just get the Harley one. I know there's a lot of people out there that probably spent quite a bit of money on their Senna systems in the past, and they'll work, but you know the Harley-Davidson one's going to be better integrated into it. So the system's about $300, guys. It's $299.95, and that's just for the wireless interface module there. And then you got to buy this harness as well. It's $49.95 for the harness, and again that's $50. And so here's a picture of those two together, the harness and the WIM. And the WIM, basically it just bolts onto the radio. You got to take the outer shell fairing off, and it bolts onto the radio underneath the fairing. So here's a shot of the headset that I'm going to be installing on my helmet here. So it's the Boom Audio 20S Evo Bluetooth helmet headset. And so once you have the wireless headset interface module installed on your bike, this will communicate with that via Bluetooth wirelessly. The problems before the wireless headset interface module first came out was that you couldn't pair your phone and your headset simultaneously to the system. It wouldn't speak to both of them simultaneously, and so there's no way to really cut the cord and have full functionality of your phone and everything simultaneously. So here's kind of a little overlay of the system here. If you don't want to use the mic that they have there where it bends up and around your helmet, there's one that is more of like a wire that you can route up to your mouth area to speak. You can even, like, there's an earbud port there. You can even, instead of using the speakers, you can hook up earbuds to go directly into your ears, which I would assume give you a lot better sound quality. Of course, it's probably a bigger pain to take your helmet on and off and put the earbuds in, I would guess. If you want to get the dual headset pack, you save $50. It's $550 for the two. And you can pair both headsets at the same time simultaneously with the wireless headset interface module as well to get like your intercom functionality. So this is a shot of one of the ear speakers there. And you can see between the helmet and the speaker, there's like a little Velcro bumper pad. They give you these little spacers there to basically reduce the space between your ear and the speaker. Really, when you're setting this thing up, you want to make sure that the speakers are as close to your ears as possible. That's going to give you the best audio quality. Here's a shot of kind of like my wire job. You have to run the wire through between like the shell and the foam on the back area underneath the lip. And this headset's going to be compatible with most full face or 3/4 helmets. This is a Simpson Outlaw Bandit. Is my personal helmet that I use the most right now, and I find this helmet accommodates this headset really well. Most of the genuine Harley-Davidson helmets are going to be really good for hooking this system up as well. So you can see, I had to take out the cheek pads to velcro the speaker in there, but they're just right in your ear holes there on both sides. It's not too hard to wire up, and it's very similar actually to wire up as the old headset. It's pretty much the same as far as installation goes on the old headset if you ever wired up one of the regular Harley-Davidson headsets. Now I just run the boom mic around the side of the helmet and up, and then route it back up where the mouth is. There's a shot of my other speaker in there. Now fitment and everything and installation is going to be a little bit different depending on what type of helmet you have. But you can see I just routed the boom mic from the outside up towards the mouth. And then the actual S20 unit can clip and unclip. There's another shot of the mic. So it's nice to be able to take it on and off because you can charge it without having to keep the entire helmet there. So you have a lot of little accessories and stuff to customize the headset the way you want it to. There's a couple little different foam tips to put on the end of the mic there to reduce like wind and breath feedback that you don't want in the mic. And there's other wires to again make the microphone like more of a wire mic instead of this like boom mic. The boom mic works just fine for me and my needs. There's also several different spacers to again adjust the space between your ear and the speaker on the side of the shell of the helmet. I found out kind of the hard way that you really want those speakers as close to your ears as possible. When you're doing 70 miles an hour down the freeway and you got a bunch of wind noise, the speakers can be hard to hear. That's another thing, guys, is if you're going to be using the system, it's pretty imperative that you try to reduce as much wind and wind feedback noise as possible. So if that means going to a little bit taller windshield, you might want to consider doing it, because if you have a lot of wind noise, like in your helmet, then it's going to be really difficult to take a phone call on these systems. I get asked a lot of questions about my personal helmet. The Simpson for a full face helmet, I think one of the biggest criticisms is that it doesn't have as good a noise cancellation as some of the other full face helmets. And personally, I like the helmet. It works well with this mic, and the style is good. but Harley-Davidson has a lot of great helmets that work for this headset as well. So the last thing that needs to be done to complete the installation on the wireless headset interface module is the dealership will hook the bike up to the digital technician and flash the radio or give it like a firmware update that populates the wireless headset menu option here. And so again, the system will need to be installed at a dealer, or if you install it yourself, you'll have to go to a dealer to get this flash in the ECM. And that allows you to go to this menu here, and then you can go to config, and there's a whole slew of options that I'm not going to touch on in this video because they're really long and boring, and you can figure those out on your own. It tells you the battery life as well, so I had to charge it up before I made this video here, but once I charged it, it went to 50%, but that allows you to see, you know, where you're at. Here is some of the options that you have with this headset here, and there's everything from, you know, voice control, setting up 8-way intercom. There's a bunch of different stuff that you can mess around with, but this is the rider headset menu here.
Hello.
And just to clarify, when you do charge the headset up completely, it will show 100%. Just the day I filmed this video, just for time purposes, I just had it plugged in for about 30-40 minutes, and so I only got about a 50% charge. But there's a couple different ways to charge this up. You get this USB cable that comes with the headset, so you can plug it into a computer to charge it up, or you can plug it into, a lot of times people have like wall adapters or USBs, or they'll have like a USB into a regular 120 volt wall adapter, or it also comes with a cigarette lighter adapter as well. And it takes about 2 or 3 hours to completely charge up, and it gives you about 10 hours of battery life. So here's a hack that I like to use. So this is a battery tender product, and what it is it converts the lead, the battery tender lead, into a USB port on the other end. And I use this for both my wireless headset, and I also use it to charge up like GoPro cameras and stuff like that. So yeah, it just plugs in as a USB, plug it in, you know, take off the wireless headset and plug it in there. And what's convenient about this, and the fact that it's so close to your saddlebag, is then you just slip the headset module into your saddlebag, and you know, you can just leave your bike like that, you know, while you go in and go eat or whatever at one of your pit stops. So then you can just lock your saddlebag. So I find this really handy. You know, chances are no one's going to mess with that little cord there. But yeah, I use this little charging hack for my GoPro cameras and everything else that takes a USB port. So yeah, this works out really, really well. And you don't have to have the bike running either, so it can draw power when the bike's off.
It's one way or the
code and PCH. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Have fun. So there's a couple different ways to make calls. Once you Bluetooth your phone to your radio, you can sync your contacts, and you can go into contacts and click on a contact that you want. You can search by letter. But me personally, I like to make my phone calls via the voice activation. If you just click once on that mouth icon and say call, then the first and the last name, the voice recognition is actually very good at calling the contact out of your address book. As I just demonstrated, I called my wife, and it comes through, I want to say 95% of the time, to the right person that I asked for. If not 99% of the time. I can't even remember a time where it didn't call the right person. As long as you have the first and last name in there, and your contacts have been synced recently. So yeah, it works really well. And you can also voice command destinations. That's one that I don't use very much. I haven't really mastered that. I haven't really used it very much. And it will voice command like your music as well. That's one that I don't use that much either, but I've voice commanded the radio. You can ask to tune to a certain frequency, and that actually works pretty good. I don't use that function that much. The voice command I use primarily for the phone, and that works extremely well. So guys, I could go into a lot more of the details and the features of this system, but that would make for a really, really long video. So in a nutshell, I'll just kind of give you some of my pros and cons about the system. Some of the cons I would say is you really have to make sure that you have a good noise cancellation helmet and to be behind a pretty good windshield and your head out of the wind noise to really hear people real well with this. And again, like I mentioned earlier, have the speakers up against your ears pretty tight. So if I have a lot of headwind, maybe I'm going down the freeway real fast and there's a bunch of wind noise, it's very difficult for me to hear people talking. And the other thing is with the battery, I've had several people complain about they charge their system up and then maybe they don't ride for 3 or 4 days and the battery's dead again. You really have to make sure you charge up your system, your wireless headset, like the day before you go on a ride or the morning of, so that the battery is fresh and you have a full day's use of battery in the system. And other than that, I can't really think of too many cons. The pros, it works well, integrates well. I never find myself trying to make it work. It works really good. Just remember to turn it off and on when you're starting your bike. And I've used the 8-way directional radio frequency before. I've only used it with one other rider, and it worked just fine. But I can't really speak from a lot of experience using the direct radio frequency. That means like the non-telephone communication from bike to bike. But if you have had a lot of experience with that, I know a lot of people that probably watch my videos have groups of 8 riders that all sync up with their Sena headsets. And so if you've had experience with that, please leave a comment below to let people know how well that works. With the limited experience I have with one other rider, it works fine. But yeah, it'd be nice to know if it works really good in a big group. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I know this is kind of a technical subject that I get asked a lot of questions on, so I'll do my best to answer any questions that you guys have. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.
I've been in your world.